Hey guys, Fabio Hart coming back with another video. Why are your clients paying late and what to do about it? Okay, here's the thing, guys. I want to jump right into this. So, a lot of you, I've spoke to many people, in the past. Some people have left comments, and in the comment section, they say, Fabio, how do you handle clients paying late? You have to build a system for that. Okay, you have to build a system for that. And what I would suggest that you do, and add this to your paperwork, right, with your contract. So when you give them the contract or the agreement, you want to have policy and procedures attached to that, right? And in your policy and procedures, it will state what happens when they pay late, right? What happens with this and what happens with that. It's going to be just the policy and procedures of your company, right? Take your time with the stuff. Make sure you can always amend it later, but if you really take your time and you hone in what your company is going to go for, what your company stand for, what your company is not going to go for, what they don't stand for, just take your time with this, okay? So again, when you submit the agreement, submit policy and procedures with that. What your policy is, what your procedures are, okay? So here's the deal. Your client's paying late and what to do about that, okay? So I'm gonna just tell you guys how I handle it. Hopefully what I say might be able to resonate with you and you might be able to use a variation of it or use it in its entirety, but hopefully it works for you here. Okay, so what I like to do when clients, which is rare for me, but it's not like it never happened. What I like to do when a client pay late, number one, I like to bring it to their attention immediately, right? So when we send our payables out, right? Account payables, the receivables, we expect them to come in on time, but you want to make sure the payables go out on time. Now, what I tell people, and I've been telling people this for years, and it works for me. Some people do it differently, and that's fine if it worked for you. But what I like to do is generally 31 days or 30 days in any calendar month, except for February. A lot of times you got 28 days or 29 days, okay? But for the most part, let's just go into 30-day or 31-day calendar month, right? So if you got a 31-day calendar month, I would suggest that you send your receivables out on the 28th or the 29th. You want to give them 2 to 3 days, right? So you send it out on the 28th. They receive it on the 28th. They got the 29th, the 30th, the 31st. So on the 1st, it's due. If you send it out 14 days ahead or 14 days earlier, then it could get lost in the shuffle. It could get lost in the email if you're sending it, electronically or sending it via email. If you got a paper form where you kind of submit it to them, you put it on their desk, it gets shuffled up with the other paperwork, or put it in their mailbox, and they say, yeah, I got another 2 weeks to pay this. Now the 2 weeks came, they don't know what they did with the receivable. They totally forgot about it, right? So what I like to do, and again, this worked for me. It's not, just my way. If you got a formula that worked for you, that's fine. This is if you're doing your nets, guys, your net 15s, your net 30s, okay? So boom, you send it out. Well, if it's a net 14, I'm gonna come around to that, but let's just talk about your net 30s. So you're in the 30-day calendar month, 31-day calendar month. You want to send your invoices out. Basically, it's what I'm saying, 2 to 3 days before it's actually due. Okay, before it's actually due. Again, in your policy and procedures, it's going to state what happens. If you give them a leeway, or you give them, a certain amount of days to pay before it's declared late, you want to have that in your policy and procedures. I'm gonna come back to that. But going back to a 31-day calendar month, you want to send the invoice out 2 to 3 days before it's actually due, so it can still be in their mind, right? So that's whether you're sending it electronically, through an app, through whatever, or you send it, you literally got a paper copy of the payable that you're going to submit to them. You want to get it out within that time frame, okay? And then expect payment on time. If you're doing a 15-day or net 15, same thing. If you're due on a 15th day, it becomes due. You want to send it out 2 days prior to that, right? 2 days prior to that, because we got to make sure we get paid on time. Okay. Now, my suggestion is also what you can do, and I've told a lot of people, you can charge them ahead, right? I've done that for many contracts, and it's not common, right? A lot of cleaning companies don't do it because they're afraid to state this, to ask this from the client. But you can charge them before you even do the service, right? You can charge them before you even do the service. I've done it with a lot of clients. Again, it's your business. You don't have to do things the conventional way. It's your business, right? So if they say, well, usually people, they do the work and then they bill us net 30. I'm sorry, we ask for payment up front, right? And there are people, professional people, small, medium to big companies that will go ahead and pay you, right? So if you ask for the prepay, that means you got your money up front, now you're gonna clean it. So at the end of that cycle, you're not expecting a payment because they already prepaid you, okay? What you also can ask for is a deposit, okay? You can also ask for a deposit on the front end, and then you collect the rest on the back end in a receivable, in your receivables, right? So if you ask for a deposit every single month, then that means they're gonna pay you X, Y, and Z, top of the month. By the end of the month, they owe you A, B, and C, whatever the case is, right? So because you got a deposit, and that's to hold you down, and then the rest of it you get on the back end. Okay, that's another way that you guys can do it. So again, it's your business, however you want to do it. Make sure you have policy and procedures attached to your agreements. Again, a lot of other people on YouTube, they don't talk about some of the stuff that I'm talking about. I'm just trying to help you guys out because I know how I feel not to get paid, and I don't want you guys to put yourself in a position where you don't get paid. Especially when your bills is due and you got people to pay and different things like this, right? It's very important that you get paid. Okay, residential. If you're doing residential, payment is due upon completion, right? Or you can pre-charge them, like I just stated. You can charge them before it's even started, or you can ask for a deposit. They pay you through Stripe, through PayPal, through Square, however you accept credit card payments. They go ahead and make that payment, that deposit. The back end is due upon completion, okay? Or you could just, bill them upon completion, right? With the payables, right? So again, also what I would suggest that you guys do is get credit cards and hold credit cards on file, right? Hold credit cards on file. You still send out your receivables, your payables. Still send out your payables same day, 2 to 3 days ahead, and then on the day that is due, you go ahead and charge them. You charge the card, okay? That way, if the card is going to decline or whatever the case is, you can catch it right away, just like Hulu, just like Netflix, just like Amazon, or any of those subscription type of sites, right? When Hulu charge your account, they don't say, do we have your permission to charge your account? No, they already have your credit card on file. They just charge it. When Prime charge you, they just charge it. They don't get your permission, right? So you can hold the credit card on file, then you charge it. What happened if you miss your Hulu payment? What happened if you miss your Prime payment? They send you an email, oops, we weren't successful in charging your card. Is there another card that you would like to use? You use that same model when you deal with your clients, residential or commercial, okay? You can drive that, like you can send out a letter that this is how we're gonna collect payments. Bigger companies don't mind doing it. It works better for them anyway, right? That way they don't have to send you out a physical check, or they don't have to worry about, they'll be more than willing to give you the credit card. And I'm talking about bigger companies, warehouses, bigger corporations. They wouldn't mind doing that, okay? But again, the receivables still going out. Again, some of your more upscale residential clients, they wouldn't mind doing that, right? Your upscale, they got a 6-figure job, $500,000 job. You're dealing with many mansions and big, homes, big, maybe notable people, successful people. They won't mind giving you a credit card to attach to the account. You come and do what you do, charge the credit card, and they're all set, right? But again, do not forget to send your payables. You want to invoice them. Even though you got the credit card, you still want to invoice them, because you want to leave a paper trail that we did invoice you each and every single month, or each and every single cleaning if you're doing with a residential client, and you got proof that you did, right? Because you with the invoice. and then you charge them for that dollar amount that was stated in the invoice. Okay, so again, guys, being paid late, I kind of gave you a different angle to go in that regard. But let's just say you don't collect credit card numbers, right? You're still receiving checks. I would never suggest that you receive cash because it could always cause a discrepancy, especially if they pay you, if they shorten your pay. So if you get cash and you're supposed to get $500 and they only gave you $450, you're $50 short, right? But they gave it to you in cash. How are you gonna take that to court, right? There's no black and white, there's no trail. You just lost $50 because if they say we're not paying it, then they're not gonna pay it, right? And or they're gonna swear that they gave it to you. No, I know I gave you all hundreds and 250s. For sure I gave you that. I remember giving you that. You might have to doubt. No, that's not when I got to the bank. The deposit, it wasn't there. It was all hundreds and 150. So I'm missing $50. No, I gave you that, right? It's in discrepancy. But see, if you would have had the card, you can charge the total dollar amount. If they cut a check or even through Stripe or PayPal, something like that, you got a paper trail of what was paid. It'll show up right there, right? So again, I wouldn't suggest that you guys accept cash for those reasons. At least get a check because it'll allow you to have a paper trail of what the check was actually written out for, push come to shove. But I would prefer that you get a credit card, okay? Keep a credit card on file. Okay, so again, so here's my process for all late payments. Okay, we talked about the type of payments, we talked about how you should collect all of this, we talked about that. So here's the process if they're just late. If you have a grace period of, let's say 4 days, 4 to 5 days. So let's say it's due on the 1st, they haven't paid, and on the 5th day, they're late. Then service stop on the 5th day, right? So I don't care if you have any cleanings to do, even if it's on the 5th. You're supposed to go in there today, it's on the 5th, you're supposed to clean, service is stopped, service is paused, okay? And it's paused until we receive payment, okay? So first thing you can do, you can give them a written, right? Or you can give them a call. You can say, so if it's me, hi, this is Fabio from such and such a cleaning service. Just looking here, we're checking our receivables. We didn't receive payment from you guys. How would you like to handle that payment? Would you like us to come and pick that payment up, or would you like to handle that payment right now via credit card? If they say, oh, you pick it up, you say, okay. We normally pick up payments by 12 noon, which is with my company. I try to, if we're going to receive checks, I like to have it in by 12 noon. That's just my policy. I like to have it in by 12 noon, right? Every so often, depending on the client, I'll give them a leeway to be past 12 noon. But if we got to get checks, I like all checks to be in by the due date on 12 noon, okay? 12 noon. So we can go ahead, get it to the bank, get it processed, okay? But, so just going back to it. So I'll place a call. Yeah, we have to check today, by 12 noon. Okay, so let's say 12 noon, come and go, no check. Then what? My next thing is I'm going to give you a written. Okay, now service is still paused until we receive payment, but I'm going to give you a written letter. So whether it's a letter that's going to go out via mail, or whether it's a letter that's going to be emailed, you're going to get a written letter stating how much you owe, how many days late, etc., etc. Okay. I can help you with that too. That's what I like to call the warning letter. Okay. Now you do the warning letter. You did the phone call. You still didn't get the payment. You do the warning letter. You didn't get the payment. Now you want to send them a postal. Okay. You want to send them like a next day that they got to sign for. Okay. Now when I reach that stage, I'm already in my mind knowing that I'm probably not going to have this client. Even after they pay, I'd still want you to go ahead and pay. But if it gets to the point where I have to send you a express letter via postal where you got to sign for it, I'm kind of in my head knowing that this relationship won't work with us, right? At that point, they sign for the letter. It's probably going to be a variation of the email letter that I sent, stating the same thing. It's just a sign. That way I know they got it, because with an email, what happened is they'll say, oh, I never received the email. I didn't receive the email. So I send a signed letter where they have to sign it. You get the receipt back that it was signed for. Okay, so now you know that they have it in their possession. No matter who have it, somebody signed for it. They have it. Okay, so boom. Now, I'll give them 24 hours since receipt of that signed letter that I sent out to go ahead and get the payment in. I'll place one more call to them and let them know, hey, we sent out the letter. We see that it was signed for 24 hours ago, whatever the case is, or 48 hours if you're giving them 2 days. We definitely need to collect payment, because we don't want to send the account to collections. I've only had to do that so many times throughout my whole entire career of just doing cleaning business. I can't, on one hand, I can count how many times I had to do that before, guys. So that rarely happened, but it could happen. So I want to give you the tea on how you should go about to do this in the event that it happens to you. Okay, so again, you will say something along the lines like, hey, we sent you out an email, or Miss Mary, I spoke to you on such and such a date. You said the payment will be available or be ready for us to pick up today by 12 noon. I called to let you guys know I was on my way. You said the payment wasn't ready, right? And that you would give me a call back before the end of the business day. We did politely wait to the end of the business day. I received no call back from you. We sent the email out, Miss Mary. We didn't get a reply from that. And then that's when they're gonna hit you with the, oh, I didn't receive it, it didn't come through, whatever the case is. So you wanna have your dates. We sent the email out on such and such a date, just like you say, we called on such and such a date. We sent the email out on such and such a date. And then they say, oh, we didn't get the email. Then you say, okay, Miss Mary, well, we also sent out a postal express letter to you that was signed for by such and such, because it'll let you know who signed for it. So we know that you guys got the letter. What time today can we pick up the payment? Or we can handle the payment right now via credit card. At that point, you let them know their options. You can pick it up, or you can handle it via credit card. If they say, well, I'm not in charge of it, or I have to, get someone to sign off on it, or I'll call you back, or whatever the case is. Now, cool. You give them that time. They're not in charge. You understand. You give them time. By the end of the business day, you're expecting that payment to be in, because my next call, and once again, the service is still paused, but my next call is going to be letting them know that, service is stopped, and is stopped indefinitely at this point, and we still need to collect payment. We don't want to have to send it to collections, but we will, but we don't want to have to. We just rather you guys just go ahead and make the payment, and we just dissolve everything from there. Okay. Again, I've counted on one hand how many times I had to do that in my entire life of doing commercial cleaning. So it's not a thing that's prevalent in the industry, at least not with me. So, but it might be something that you have to do. Okay. And all of this should be stated in your policy and procedures, right? So you have them initial it and date it on your policy and procedures. You're going to get a copy of it. They're going to get a copy of it. That way they can state that they have received it by initialing or signing it and dating it. Okay. Sorry for the lengthy video, guys. I wanted to get this out because I know how important it is to get paid. I want you guys to get paid, especially if you're doing the quality work. You're giving them top tier service. You deserve to be paid for it. I'm Fabio Hart. The only person that could ever stop you from starting up your own dreams and making it to the top is you. Take care.